Hello and welcome to the Dinosaw Week 2. Another 7 curious, interesting things I saw last week. So let's crack on. First one is Dali. This is an image generator. So it uses descriptions, i.e. text, to create the images. So it's been trained on a huge amount of images. And if you really want a lamp that looks like an avocado or a lotus root, or indeed you want a tissue box to look like something or a purse, it can do that for you. And that's kind of scary. It's interesting if you're in the image library business, for instance, because all of a sudden, if I need an illustration of an avocado chair, then I can find it almost instantly. I don't need to commission it anymore. So that's kind of worrying, but also really interesting as well. So go to the website, have a play with it. You can basically click on all the examples and then start iterating on them as well, just to see what's available. All of these are generated. So I guess in the future then they will be license free, or there will be a new form of license because of them. So check it out. WhatsApp, if you are a WhatsApp user, you may have noticed a privacy update. At the moment you can dodge it. You can just click the cross button at the top, but as of I think it's the 8th of February, you will need to have clicked agree at some point. Now this first caused quite a lot of concern, because if you read the terms and conditions, it basically says your data from WhatsApp can now be shared more widely with Facebook. Now there was certain places where it was already, but there were also certain places where it wasn't, and it was sort of ring fenced within certainly WhatsApp, certainly within the UK. So people panicked slightly. Now it turns out that if you're in the EU and the UK, there won't be any change. So you can click on the agree button, and for now there will be no change. However, there is a sort of the nuance of that, which is you can actually now basically start chats with companies on WhatsApp, or will be coming soon. So those companies could be hosted via Facebook. So therefore, anything you chat to that company will be recorded and shared. So it's kind of, it's not super clear exactly what's going where. However, it did cause quite a few public announcements from the likes of Elon Musk, basically saying go and download Signal, and we saw a huge spike in competitors. Even Skype saw a spike as well. So people essentially being a little bit more I guess nervous of Facebook owning more and more of their data. Basically, if you're in the UK and the EU, then it doesn't really mean much at the moment. If you're on Facebook, then you might as well click it anyway. But your chats will not be shared regardless. They are still private and secure. So there you go. Don't worry if you don't need to worry. Clearview AI, so this is a face recognition algorithm. You may have heard of it before only because it hit the headlines last year, being called out by the New York Times on its training set. So instead of buying lots of photos and using law enforcement images, say from driving licenses or passports or something that can be accredited, it actually used websites and social media to sort of steal, in certain cases, its references. So there were lots of cease and desist notices and those sorts of things. So what they've done is they've pivoted to say, look, it's not publicly available, it's only for law enforcement. So this was used as of the storming of the Capitol building in the US recently, and is now being used to identify the users on there. So obviously they were prolific on social media, etc. So you know, my point here is does the way you got the data somehow justify the final result if it's catching criminals, for instance. So big moral debate possibly to be started there. They saw a 26% spike in use as of the day. So clearly all the law enforcement agencies are using it actively. Trackers. So there's new news and sort of revisiting of old news in this one. So the much delayed Apple AirTags are muted to be released in 2021. So if this is the first time you've heard about these work like tile tags. So tile tags use Bluetooth within the range of Bluetooth, so sort of 100 meters, 50 meters, 200 meters if you're lucky. But if you lose something in a park and walk away and go home, you will not find it because you'll be out of range. However, Apple AirTags will also ping to local phones, nearby phones. So as of a new update, I think iOS 13 had hints in it, iOS 14 will probably have an update in it. Basically, if you walk past one of these things, it'll be pinging out there saying, I'm lost, please notify via your phone the Apple server, which will then notify the owner. So it essentially creates a network in the world of local phones that might find your stuff for you. So this is really interesting for things like insurance. So if you have a moped, you can put one of these in the seat, for instance, and if anybody steals your moped, then you can track it through your phone. So that might crime prevention and recovery of vehicles, etc., etc. Tile have also just announced their update of their new Tile using ultra-wide bandwidth. So this is sort of a radio frequency that's is better than Bluetooth, and they're also then using AR to find the items as well. So still within the local area, but you can now use your phone according to their update to essentially look around you and find where your things are, because it's far more accurate than Bluetooth. So there you go. I think Apple are also doing the AR as well. So there's a lot happening in trackers in 2021. Ratatouille the musical on TikTok. Unfortunately, I think if you're watching this past the 10th, that was your last opportunity to watch it. Just watched it, it was interesting. So this is a community effort to put on, I mean, almost out of nowhere, Ratatouille the musical. So this was an idea that somebody had last year in August, I think, and people started recording duets and making up songs, and then it just snowballed from there. Lots of stars got involved, or singers, directors, the composers, those sorts of things. And there was a challenge, obviously. You could then submit your song. There was a dance routine that you could actually do as well. And all the submissions were then put into and directed into one big pre-edited show, which you could then watch on TikTok. You could buy tickets to go and see it. And actually it raised $2 million for the Actors Fund. So obviously the original goal was $1 million, which it passed. And there's an encore as of today. So it was really interesting about how everybody came together. There were set designers, there were all sorts of things as well. So definitely check out basically the hashtag on TikTok, and you'll find all of the submissions for that as well. So really interesting how these things. I'm not quite sure how it worked with the licensing from Disney, but there you go. AI generated words. So this is using GPT-2, which is the slightly older version of GPT-3, which was used for the making avocado chairs you've just seen. This is a really interesting experiment that just generates words that are sort of English sounding and plausible, but they're made up. And it also has a go at trying to describe what it is as well. So things like trombing, which is a musical noise carried by a boat or another boat, or termitology, which is a study of structures and relations between their structures and their function, those sorts of things. So it'd be interesting to see if you can sneak one of these into a presentation and or get it featured in the dictionary. It'd be quite interesting to see if we can actually spike one of these into a dictionary. And finally, I check in on this every year. This is the Optical Illusion of the Year Awards. Some great submissions this year, and this is the winner. So this is the Schrodinger's staircase, and there's a 2D and a 3D version of this, and as you can see, this is the 3D one, which is a little bit of a mind bender as it rotates around. So there you go. If you want to have a look at a few more of those, check out the illusionoftheyear.com and you will find more. Very interesting. So with that, thank you very much, and I will see you next week.